we just absolutely love spending time doing active activities together. Even when our oldest daughter, when she was home visiting, we made sure to make plans to do active things. We went whitewater rafting. We went miniature golfing. We did activities in our yard. We made a point to do hikes for sure. And that's just because that's the kind of stuff that we love to do as a family.
Are you lacking in the self-care department? Or maybe you just want to step up your game? Well, then you need to get a hold of the weekly self-care planning guide, because this will help you to plan out and prioritize self-care, because self-care is not a luxury, it is a necessity. You can get yours by going to holisticmamaspeaks.com/self-care. That's holisticmamaspeaks.com/self-care. Oh, and did I mention the self-care planning guide is absolutely free? That's $0. So be sure to get yours at holisticmamaspeaks.com/self-care.
Hello and welcome back to Holistic Mama Speaks, the podcast, Season 2. I am your host, Carrie Marie Vaughn, and I'm just so excited to continue our journey together towards holistic living, wellness, and abundance. Wow. In Season 2, we are just going to be diving deeper into a variety of different topics related to natural health, mindful living, wealth and abundance, and even conscious parenting. I'm just so excited. And I will be featuring expert guests who will share their knowledge and experience with us. So many amazing people, some returning guests from Season 1 and some new guests. I will also be answering listener questions and addressing some common concerns related to holistic living. And you can actually submit your questions by going to holisticmamaspeaks.com/ask. ASK. My goal is to provide you with practical tips and inspiration that you can incorporate into your own life. Whether you are a seasoned holistic living enthusiast like some people, or if you are just starting out on this journey, there is just something for everyone along the way. So I'm just happy to have you here in the Season 2 of Holistic Mama Speaks. And just as a side note, by listening to this podcast, you agree not to use this as medical advice or to treat a medical condition. You can visit holisticmamaspeaks.com to find the full disclaimer. So sit back, relax, and let's explore a world of holistic living and abundance together. Are you a mom who's struggling to balance taking care of loved ones while also taking care of yourself? It's a very common challenge, but there is actually a simple solution: daily affirmations. In Mom Mantras, the daily affirmation guide for mothers of all kinds, you'll find powerful affirmations and mantras that will help you improve your health, happiness, and mindset. Whether you are a biological mom, an adoptive mom, a stepmom, a pet mom, a motherly figure, this book is for you. Read these mantras in the morning, before bed, really anytime throughout the day to uplift your spirits and to stay focused on what matters most. Visit mommantras.com to get your own copy and to start living a more intentional, purposeful life. Hello, and welcome back to Holistic Mama Speaks. I am your host, Carrie Marie Vaughn, and I am so extremely excited to have two lovely ladies who I just absolutely adore. I have Kara and I have Stefaine, and today we're going to be chatting about family playtime, turning exercise into quality time, which I love. It's so much fun, and so I'm really excited to have these ladies on. I'm going to let each of them introduce themselves and let you know a little bit about what they're doing to help people, and then we're going to dive into the topic. So Kara, I will start with you.
Okay, so I guess a little bit about myself is I'm a fitness instructor. I'm currently at 3 different gyms, but that's the way we make the schedule work as a mom and with 2 little kids. I have a 4-year-old and a 20-month-old. So basically I go to one gym, teach my class, go to another gym, come home, and then my husband goes to work and we switch on and off. I've been in fitness for almost 7 years now. I think I've known you, Carrie. I think it's like 7 years now, which is crazy to think. I met Carrie. I love kickboxing, being a boxing instructor. My background is in dance that turned into the love for fitness. And while I was at I Love Kickboxing, I got pregnant with my son. And then I started to really learn about what life was, navigating being a mom and navigating fitness. Of course, our bodies change with everything. And then you have work, you have kids, and you got to try to let it meld together. And then fast forward, 3 years there, another gym, had my daughter. And really, here we are. I love helping women. I've been a part of almost women-only gyms. It just happened to be how it works out. I guess I should say parents, just fitness, right? Just moving their body daily. It doesn't matter how, it doesn't matter if you need to modify. That's something I'm actually really proud of myself with doing is I help people modify so they feel successful in all their workouts. But I bring that home with hiking. I've been trying to do that a lot. We get outside almost every weekend. And yeah, I guess that's a short snippet of who I am and what I do.
That's awesome. Awesome. I know. I can't even believe that it's been so long since I've known you and we met at the gym, which was so much fun. And you are the best instructor ever. So thank you. Thank you for everything.
Thank you.
And Stefaine, I'm going to let you introduce yourself.
I'm super excited to be here. My name is Stefaine. I'm a mom of 4. I've been a stay-at-home mom for 10 years. Last year, we tried homeschooling for a year. And this year, the school for me can have them back because my kids did not like it as well as I had hoped. Part of that is just because we had to deal with some mental health issues. And so my husband and I made the really hard decision to let's go back to school, which is why I'm in the mental health space. So I've dealt with depression and been on lots of medications. My daughter's going through her own thing. She's 16. So it's important for me to help people through that just because of what we've all been through in our house. So I met Carrie last year at an event, in a network marketing event. And this last year, watching her on stage, I think I was like the loudest cheerleader in the whole thing for you, just so you know, I was super excited to see you up there. And so that's pretty much, I work from home, married to my husband 17 years, and just doing our thing with our family. So
that's awesome. So happy to have you on. This is so exciting because I love doing activities with my family. It's always so fun. One of the things that we love doing are just like having cookouts, having backyard get-togethers. And that usually always includes either being in and out of the pool or doing some sort of backyard game. So that could consist of the cornhole type thing, or the throwing of the frisbee, whatever that's called, where you try to get it through the little shoe. I am not good at knowing the names of these things. And ladder ball, all of these other things, just to stay active, so that we can still be gathering together with our friends and our family and staying active and just enjoying the company of each other. So that's a huge thing. I also love hiking, as you mentioned, Kara. And so, what are some of the things that you ladies like to do with your families to stay active, as well as, how do you help other moms that you work with on just kind of being active in their house with their kids, with their spouses, and that type of thing?
I really just share it's really hard in a class setting, I guess you could say. I just share everything and anything. But basically where I come from is just helping, moms get stronger as well. And just to live a healthier life. I've had a big flip of a switch in my brain, just actually in this past week about, not by the way you look, but by the way that you are, just being there for your kids, and you just want to have a long life and be able to move with them. And then, I guess you say we're older parents. I'm going to be 35 and I have, really, the younger children, and my husband's going to be 39 this year. So we did all of our traveling, got everything, all that stuff out of the way. I say that, but we still travel to England every year. But we want to still be active for them when we're older, and things like that. But like we do hiking. That's like what I said, one of the things after school, like we literally just got back about a half hour ago from just a small little mile loop. It also gets out the energy. So like that's my newest tip of having somebody that is just starting to go to school, right? Is my son is now in preschool, which is crazy. And I know. It was like this big, peanut, and we've realized that he's me. He has a lot of energy. So as soon as he gets out of school, I try and do something with him right then and there. Even if we have to come home, we have lunch or something, we go on a walk. We go on a little hike. It's nothing extravagant. It's nothing big. It was literally like a 20-minute walk, half-hour walk, just to get his mind out of school. Just another way for him to decompress instead of screen time. We've really started to pull away from that screen time and just start to move. But we're also in this season that we do so much with our family, with pumpkin patches, apple orchards. We went to a car show the other day before football Sunday began. So we try to do stuff before like we sit, if that makes any sense. But obviously, like I said, just my daily life and what I do, I'm a personal trainer for boxing, so a lot of that, the mental health. So I try to be everybody's therapist and just let them talk, because we all sometimes just need people to talk to us instead of me talking all the time.
Yeah. For me, so I just a little background. Years ago, like, when I wanted to be a mom, like my whole life, right? And I just had this idea of what life would look like. And when we had our first daughter, which was very unexpected, life was not looking anything like I thought. And life really started happening to us at that time, right? And so we were kind of stuck in this space. And then we had another baby. And then it was like, we just lived in like we were just trying to survive for a long time with our kids. So it was very hard trying to be the mom I wanted to be, like that fun mom, and that when I was always super stressed out and like, in a really weird place. And so fast forward a few years, I had two more children and was in like a super bad depression. I was pretty overweight for myself, and I was medicated. So what my children saw was me just in bed and like for days at a time. So there was like a time period where I wasn't interacting with my children very much. They'd come and like sit with me, and that's what they saw. And so at one point, my daughter started acting out, seeing with the kind of same things that I was going through. And I didn't realize it was because she was watching me. Right. And so we went through this whole thing with her, like me, well, I need to get better so I could fix her. And then there was a shift when I got into some things and started growing and developing myself and started kind of feeling better. And then I realized like I had missed so much of their life and not being that mom that I thought. Like I was missing out on their little life, right? And like we didn't really do playtime a whole lot because mommy was always so tired or so stressed or depressed and on medication, right? And sleeping. So, and daddy was always gone because he had to support us. So there was a long time in my kid's life where we didn't get any of that because that's just not where we were. And so the way that my kids' sets are, like I call them sets. So I have a 16-year-old and a 14-year-old, and then there's a 5-year gap in between, and then I have a 9-year-old and a 7-year-old, right? So with my two older ones, I didn't really get that little time because of everything that we were going through. And so while my two little ones were little, I was determined to like, we're going to do this. I want to be in their life. I want them to remember me. So there was a shift in me working on myself and getting better. No medication because it made me feel really bad. And that's when we really started kind of not so much of a holistic way, but like trying to get away from some things. And so our shift was, I just want to do as much as I can with them, right? And so we do family game nights like all the time. We have games that we do. We go to the park a lot. We have these parks that have hiking trails. It's not like up in mountains, but they're just like hiking trails. Kids love to do that. We play a lot of sports together. So we are so interactive. We skate. We do things now where we are always together.
And I just kind of think that because we do so much together for our family, that's why the homeschooling thing didn't work, is because we're always together, right? And so my kids were like, Mom, get off me. Like, I need to be out. So now they're at school and they're thriving in school. And then it makes that quality time. Like, my 14-year-old actually told me, thank you for homeschooling us, because now we understand and we appreciate school more now. So they're all like, love being in school, but then that home time is more special now because we're not always together. And they're like, I want to spend more time together. Now it's like, hey, let's spend time together. And so, we do those. We do dinner a few times. We have the saying in our house, like, I will text my kids when it's dinner time. If I'm working or I'm tired and I just want to, like, whatever, I will say dinner's to go tonight. That just means come get your plate and eat wherever you want. Like, it's to go. Or, we'll eat as a family a few nights a week. But we're always getting that time together. But the biggest change that we had was a few years ago. Just with everything kind of going on in the world, makes you kind of start looking at stuff. And we really shifted to a more holistic approach in a lot of things. And I think the biggest thing that has helped our family transition into everything and get along so well is that we really take the time to explain things to our kids. So we explain why we don't want to eat certain things or why we don't want to do certain things or go certain places. It's not just a no, we're not going to, or because I said, or anything. Like, we explain it. And that has really helped our family. And so I get a lot of moms that ask me, like, well, how did you get your kids to stop eating the junk food? And I'm like, super simple. I explain to them what's in it, right? And why we don't want that. And so it's so cute because when we go to the store, like my 7-year-old, it used to be a fight. Like, he would like hold something up and go, can I get this? And I would go, no, put it back. And then he would like scream in the store, and you're like, now he doesn't ask if we can get it. He'll hold something up and go, does it have dye in it? And I'll look at it and I'll go, yep, it does. And he'll go, and he'll put it back. And there's no fight. And he's like, always like, Mom, don't forget the spinach for my smoothies. Like, we're in the store and people are looking at him like, how old are you? I'm like, it's fun because now we've created this space where they also are loving their health and their bodies. When we were homeschooling, we wanted to make sure that we were getting our fitness in. So we got gym memberships for everyone. And that was our time with our big kids, as the littles went to daycare and the bigs, we all worked out together at the gym. And then I started, like, we got rid of that and we started doing home workouts. So my daughter does it. My little one likes to do yoga with me. So we just do things together, and my son and my husband, because he has a teenager, he loves it. They work out in the garage in their bench thing. It's so cute. This week, my 14-year-old started getting up at 5:30 when he doesn't need to even be up till 6:15, just so he can go out into the garage and work out before he gets on the bus. And so, like, all of these changes that we've been making, without us saying you need to do this, we just explain to them why we're doing it and how it's important to their body. And they're all, making the changes and the choices themselves. So I think that's my biggest thing. Like, when people come to me and ask, like, how did you transition? It's really just, it's just having those conversations. So
yeah, and Stefaine, I can totally relate because there was definitely a chunk of time when my kids were younger that I barely remember. It just flew by. I was just going through the motions. There was a million things to do and we had to be everywhere. We had to do everything. And I forgot to take care of myself. And so that's kind of when I had that realization that, wow, I'm unhealthy. I just missed a whole chunk of my kids' childhood. And I'm not setting a good example for my kids whatsoever, because you can't just be running around like a crazy person and not taking care of yourself. That's not good. And so I had that realization. And then that kind of kickstarted me onto this, like, okay, this self-care and self-love. And, what can I do to improve myself, and what activities can I be doing? And it just starts trickling, because my kids are watching, and we just make a point to do things that are more active, even though it's funny. I was sharing with you ladies before we hopped on about how some people think that, once your kids grow up, that you can't do, like active playtime anymore, but that's so untrue. My youngest is the last one in high school. We're almost empty nesters, which is so weird. I can't even believe it. But anyway, we have a 17-year-old, a 20-year-old, and a 24-year-old. And it's just so we just absolutely love spending time doing active activities together. Even when our oldest daughter, she lives across the country, but when she was home visiting, we made sure to make plans to do active things. We went whitewater rafting, we went miniature golfing, we did activities in our yard. We made a point to do hikes for sure. And that's just because that's the kind of stuff that we love to do as a family. We rarely ever sit around and have a movie night. I mean, that I don't even remember the last time we sat around and had a movie night, because usually when it's nice out, we're doing things outside, or we're going somewhere and doing something, because we just want to stay active. And especially the more things we can do, the better outside, because being outside has another level of just feeling good, right? But I'm just curious of you ladies, like, what are some things you like to do inside when you can't get out? Like if it's pouring out or in the wintertime, because I know like here in upstate New York, we always have a winter and it's not so fun outside.
I used to live in
Get Snowmageddon here.
Where do you live in New York?
I'm
in upstate as well. I'm right by Carrie. Carrie was my maple syrup lady after I left kickboxing.
I used to live in the Syracuse area.
Okay. All right. So like a little bit more out west, like mid central.
That's so cool. So I know about the snow up there because we got snowed in for months. In North Carolina, it gets icy and kind of, I don't know, weird. But for us, we do a lot of board games. We have this board game that our whole family is obsessed with, and we have tournaments and like weird, like we go all out with this game. That's really our go-to thing inside. My girls love to bake, so especially we're coming into holiday season, so we're going to be baking up a storm. Like they're going to be doing all their stuff. That's really, I mean, we have limits on our screen time. Like my husband controls how much they can, like my son's Xbox is only allowed so many hours a day. So which is really cool because it teaches him to manage his own time, right? So he'll like look at his day and like, when do I want to be on my Xbox? When are my friends going to be on? And then he'll like go off and do stuff all day. And then he'll come in and go, Mom, it's 4 o'clock. I'm spending my 2 hours. I'll be in my room. And I'm like, fine, whatever you want to do. Mm-hmm. You figure it out, but I'm not giving you more time. So really, we are just big board game people. So that's what we do.
Cool. I love board games too.
We're on the baking side. I hear you on that one. We do a lot of baking and like cooking here. Like I have a couple side gigs that I do too. And so like Rowan loves to cook. He used to call it mixing. Can we do some mixing? When he was, well, he is still young, but a little bit younger. But we just made like little pumpkin pies and different things like that. But that's the great thing about baking. You know what goes into it. Right? Like we went on a road trip and we were talking about donut holes. And it's like, I happen to have a donut hole pan. Let me, do a recipe myself. 5 ingredients, whereas certain places, a bunch of other junk goes into it. Right. So baking is definitely on our side, especially when you look into the more holistic living and, cleaner living, and eating and everything like that. But we have a playroom downstairs, like designated to the kiddos. We do have a TV down there and stuff like that. So like we're football fans. So on football Sundays, we go downstairs with the kids and like they just play for hours. Like we have gymnastics mats and different things like that in the blocks. So they're always moving. They're always moving and we're always doing things with them. And what else do? We do crafts. Crafts are a big thing that we do. He has his own little craft bin in his room. So we're getting more into that. I'm starting to do, we go to like the library. The library is by us. His Gruffalo. Gruffalo, yes. And so like he likes to do a lot of stuff in the library, and the library, they have crafts there as well. And so he knows now when he goes to the book, he knows to get his craft before we leave. So I'm like, why don't I do what they do? They have pre-made crafts. I'm like, so that's our newest thing we're going to start getting into is doing like, so when he, you know, if it's raining and all that stuff, like we're trying, like I said, we're trying to pull away from the screen time. You know, he started having a time where he like didn't focus as well and listen to us as well. So as we started to pull the screen time, we started to realize, okay, this is a good direction that we're going.
Awesome. Yeah. My kids loved crafts when they were younger. They would get for Christmas every year, they would get something to do for crafts. And so they would have crafts to work on throughout the year. They would each have their own little craft bin. So whenever they were in the mood to craft, they could get out their little bin and all their supplies and kind of take over the dining room table. And even still, whenever my girls and I get together, we usually will do like a paint night or something like that. It's so fun. We just get out all the painting supplies, get out some canvases, and we usually we'll bake or something like that. So we'll have a fancy little treat to have to eat. Sometimes, we'll put on fun music to listen to and sing along or whatever it might be. But another thing that we also love to do when it's yucky weather out is that we used to have our Wii up in our living room, but with our new TV setup, we don't have it up in our living room. So now we just find on YouTube, we find the Just Dance that we used to watch on the Wii, or maybe it was not on the Wii, maybe it was on the PlayStation. Either way, we don't have that in our living room anymore. And so, because nobody ever really plays it. So we just pull it up on YouTube and we will do Just Dance dances for hours until we're like so sweaty and tired that we're like, okay, we're all danced out. But it's so fun. That's usually my girls and I. The boys are not so into that activity. But even so, though, it's just always fun. And the games, we usually always, whenever we get together with extended family or friends, we always bring out the games, whether it be board games or there's this one that we really love that you just kind of pass around. And it's almost like you're trying to get other people on your team to guess the word that's on the screen. And you have to pass it around before the timer runs out. It's so much fun. So, those are always fun games. It gets everybody kind of moving along and excited. And it's just fun activity time with family. So
we have a really fun game. We usually, it's become our New Year's tradition. So like kids love New Year's because one, they get to stay up late. We pop balloons. So I put like starting at like 6 or 7 o'clock, there's balloons and then they get to pop them every hour, which an hour goes really fast when you're like popping balloons. We're like, didn't we just pop one? What the heck? So we do that. But then in between that time, we play this game. And we really should play it more, but it's basically like, it's like a bunch of different things in one. And so you like draw the card and you got to like, it challenges you. Sometimes you're up trying to do something. It's all these, I cannot think of the name for the life of me right now of it, but it is like, you're physically getting up and doing things and crazy things, and trying to like stack cups or get balls into the thing and you're racing each other or who could be the first one to do it. And it could be just you against a timer. It could be you against somebody. It could be all of you against each other. Like it's so fun because it's such an active game and we laugh and I will think of the name of it and tell you, but it is such a fun game for families, especially with the little ones, because they can still play it and do all of the activities. And it is just my little ones, absolutely. That's their favorite family time with us, is playing that game. So.
Is it Minute to Win It?
No, it's not. I will think of that, but it's similar, let me think of the name of it.
That's really so funny because that's one thing that like I can't wait till the kiddos are older, like to do like some more of these type of activities with them. It's funny to like think like, okay, maybe in like 40 years they can do this or they can do that. It's always like you're almost like looking forward to doing certain things, going on bigger hikes with them. And then, but in doing this, they're learning from us too, to go on to their adult life, even like him going into school and stuff. I yelled at him one day that he was in the garage. I'm like, what are you doing in the garage? He wasn't answering me. I go in, he's like on his back and he's going, I'm doing muscles. And he has a piece of wood. I was like, where did you get this from? Like, when did you see this? You know, they're always watching. And I feel in these craft times, these play times, these hikes and everything, like they're just always learning and evolving, even as like the teenagers and, you know, the older kids and stuff. It's going to help them in their adult life and just to be active, you know. And that's, I think, something that a lot of people moved away from, especially during shutdown and during the times people really got away from getting outside or doing things. So I think it's happening more and more. You're seeing more activities, more events, and more things happening. So I think we're in the right direction.
Yes. Yes, it's so fun. And they are watching. You're right. No matter how old they are, you know, they're always picking up clues. And I do like having that really good communication with the kids. Even though they're older now, like this is why we're not eating this. Like you were saying, Stefaine, it's just, you know, if you explain why we're getting certain things or why we're doing things a different way because it's healthier, or, you know, I remember I don't remember ever having conversations like that when I was younger. I don't, you know, we didn't really have any choice. We just ate what was given to us or whatever. But I don't remember having conversations about the ingredients and things. I don't remember having conversations about the importance of taking care of our bodies, or you know, even other topics like money management or the importance of self-care, anything like that. Those were never topics brought up, but I love being able to talk to my kids about it because I'm like, you know, I can do this and then they can teach their kids, and then it's a trickle effect generationally. You know, it can start with us. It can start with our generation. Like, okay, we're the ones that are going to be teaching our kids about the importance of having playtime, about being creative, about moving our bodies, taking care of ourselves, that type of thing. And I absolutely love it.
It's so funny. So I had to go get physicals done for the kids to go back into school. And the doctor was like talking. She went to my 7-year-old first, and she was like, all right. So she was like asking him the questions instead of me, which was fine, you know, get his answers. And she said, so are there any special foods or anything that mommy doesn't let you eat or that you're not allowed to have? And he goes, oh, yes, a lot. And I'm like, I have no idea what he's about to say right now. And I look at him, and the doctor goes, oh, and what foods are those? And he's like, anything with dye, anything bioengineered, anything with, and he's just like rattling and his fingers are going, and the doctor's looking, and she looks at me, and I'm like, I don't know what she's about to say. So she's writing notes on his paper, and I'm like, did I do something wrong? Because I feel like I'm doing everything right, right? Like I feel like that's me protecting my kids. And she was like, I love this. You are the first parent to come in and your child explain it to me. And she goes, Gavin, do you know why you're not allowed to have those? Why does mommy not let you? And he goes, oh yeah, those are bad for my body. And he's like, and the dyes make me like I don't listen when I have dye and stuff. And she was like, okay. So she's like, right now, I was like, I explain everything to them. I don't want to just tell them no. I want them to know because I don't want them to just be like, because you know we didn't really get soda when I was little for a long time, and so there was a point where you start drinking soda and you're like, I never got to have this when I was little, so you just want to like have it now. I want them to know why, so that when they're older they continue these habits, and it's not just a my parents never let me, right? And like you just said, like we are setting that for the generation so that you know, like we don't even use medicine. We do our own holistic stuff. And we also explain why we don't do that, right? So also we just, when we went to the doctor that I tried to go to that wouldn't let us go, that's another story. She said, your kids don't take a daily medication. And I said, no. And she was like blown away. And she was like, almost all of our patients take a daily medication. And I was like, yeah, we do our own thing. She was
Right.
like, you don't have a doctor? And I was like, we don't get sick. So, I know it's because of the holistic things that we've been doing. So,
That's shocking though, that most children have a medication. Yikes. Wow. Well, this is pretty eye-opening. Well, thank you so much, ladies. We are out of time, but it has been such a pleasure talking to both of you. I think all of these tips that we've shared are really going to help moms to know now how they can incorporate some activity and some playtime, and have, you know, healthier, more fun relationships with their families. So how fun. Thank you, ladies.
thank you so much.
Thank you for having us. I feel like this can go on forever.
I know. We can just chat about this forever. Well, have an amazing day.
Bye, ladies.
Bye. Thank you so much for listening. It has been a pleasure being with you today. I hope that you enjoyed this and got some value out of it. If you did, be sure to rate and review on wherever you're listening or watching. And also be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you so much and have a great rest of your day.